Hello, everybody. It's Forever DM here again. This time I'm coming at you with a Halloween-based adventure theme idea, so that you can use this if anyone is going to be using making a Halloween party. I currently am not, so I figured might as well share my idea out there so somebody could have fun with it. So this is going to, um, so you don't necessarily have to use the exact same monsters that I'm using, because I do have access to several of the books. So I will reference the books down in the description and the page that you can find them on as well. But it's going to be very easy for you to just swap between different monsters. It's going to be okay. Uh, it's mainly that you want to get the entire theme of this um, down. The monsters are piecemealed together. It doesn't really matter. So the theme is that there's a big bad evil guy. It can either be a necromancer wizard. You can do a death domain cleric or a cleric of the grave, or maybe even um, just a favored soul sorcerer that just chose to grab all the necromancy stuff. Um, Anything like that. So like I said, you can piecemeal however you see fit. It's just that we need to have a big bad evil guy that's evil. So he's been experimenting on humans or humanoids. It doesn't really matter. Um, to try and become a lich. Nobody really knows the exact process on how to become a lich except for liches, and they don't really want to delve into that information and let it leak out so that other people can do it as well. So he's trying to, but whether or not he actually succeeds is up to you, depending on what level you want to do this at. If he is in fact a lich, it's probably going to be up there, and I would definitely give him a lair. So we've got our big bad evil guy, and he's experimenting with flesh, trying to become a lich, and he's created a couple of flesh golems out of the flesh of these sailors. Um, the way I put this, when we actually did run this game, was in the Ghost of Saltmarsh setting. So that's why everything's kind of like piratey themed in mine, but you can set this anywhere. The way mine was set up is that he had found an island that had a really dense, hard to navigate coral reef around it. So constantly ships would crash into the reef, and there you go. There's his supply of bodies that he can mess with. So I themed it around, they were going through this coastal chain, and they would eventually stumble upon the coral reef themselves and get stranded. And then they would fight a couple of drowned undead, like the drowned ascetic, assassin, and blade, and masters that you can find in the Ghost of Saltmarsh book. Between pages 233 and 235, there's a bunch of these drowned undeads. And they're pretty low of a challenge rating, so it's more of like you just want to throw a swarm at them to get them to realize, hey, there's undead on this island. So it kind of sets the theme going. And now, what I did next is I let them see faint images of ghosts around. But I'll tell you this now, but I didn't tell the players when they saw the ghost. The ghosts are helpful. The ghosts are the spirits of the dead sailors that this big bad evil guy has created from when he kills them. So the ghosts are actually trying to help the party locate where the big bad evil guy is, because that's how they can move on, is by killing the guy who's the killer. But they don't show up for long periods of time. They can't talk when they come out of the ethereal plane, because the big bad evil guy has been doing this for a long time, so long that it has unhallowed the area. You can give someone a check that if they want to investigate the area, they find that it is in fact unhallowed. Um, and so that desecration has made it so that when the ghosts appear, the longer they appear in the material plane, the more chance they have to be corrupted by the necromancer or the death domain cleric or whoever the lich, whatever, the big bad evil guy. So they just appear as figments and point in a direction and then they're gone. So the players are like, we go to where it's pointing, or is it pointing to our doom? So it's kind of this eerie setting that you can place, and it fits very well with the theme once they figure everything out. So then, after they face some, low-level drowned or drog or draug, however you pronounce that, just some undeads, just to kind of throw waves of really low stuff at them. Um, they kind of get the sense like, okay, there's a bunch of undead here, something's going on. So as they delve deeper, the way I set this up is there was a graveyard, and one of the houses that they could, one of the mausoleums they could actually enter into, and it led down into a tunnel system to a larger crypt, and that's where my big bad evil guy was. But again, where he's based doesn't matter. He could be up in a tower, and they can go up the tower facing hordes of undead on the way. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the theme. Really dark, misty setting where ghosts just appear out of nowhere, pointing in weird directions without saying anything. It's extremely cryptic on purpose. Then at some point, they do need to stumble upon a journal or manifest, even about the process of harvesting flesh from humans or humanoids in the area, so they can kind of get the gist of, okay, these beings were wronged and have been experimented on and tortured. So we really do two things here with storytelling. We not only tell the party that there's probably more undead and way worse abominations that they can face, but also the horrors of this big bad evil guy. When they finally get there, they want to kill him and not seduce him or get sidetracked by doing something else. There, you really want to amplify up the evil of this guy or girl, whatever, the big bad evil person. So they stumble upon the manifest, so they see, okay, he's been doing this, he's experimenting on something, we gotta put a stop to this. Maybe even run through a room that has some sort of soul collecting machinery or something. Um, so they can see, oh, he's close to finishing. This has become more dire. And so they finally get to the room, and this is where you have a choice as a dungeon master. If you want to make something challenging, you give the party more things to fight than they can handle. Um, what I mean by that is if it's a party of 5, you want them to be fighting 8 to 10 things so that they feel overwhelmed and the situation is hard, because that's how you stress your players out. If you want to make your party feel awesome, have them fight one thing. And I wish I could remember who told me that, because I would reference them. If anybody else has heard that before, please put it in the comments below of who you said it so I can give them credit. But I completely 100% agree. When you fight one thing with a party of 5, it's no matter how the initiative goes, at one point it's going to be one turn and then 5 turns if you've got 5 party members, and they just overwhelm. The action economy alone is so overwhelming. You can throw relatively difficult things at a party if it's just a single being. Multi-attack and extra actions and legendary actions aside, it's going to be fairly easier fighting one thing than it is to fight 12 things. Even if they're easy, that's 12 different chances to crit. That's several different chances to be flanked and get bogged down so they can't maneuver as quickly. So the final end um, boss, where the big bad evil guy is, should be not by himself. Ideally, what I did was I had them fight him and a couple of his flesh golems and a couple of skeletons. Because my version, he was a necromancer. He was harvesting those humanoids and doing two things with them. He was taking the flesh from them to create flesh golems, but he had a pile of bones from the humanoids just sitting there, not being used. So he would reanimate the bones into skeletons. So he's getting two monsters from one corpse. That's why there's ghosts, because the process that this truly evil being was doing was so horrific that the souls weren't um, crossing to the other side, and they were stuck in this horrible, desecrated area because of all the evil acts that he was doing. And you could throw some traps throughout the dungeon. Definitely something that's extremely deadly or rakes flesh is best. So poison stuff, pitfalls, not really the theme that fits here. Sights and spike walls and things like that are a lot better. Stuff that draws blood, because that's what can get used by him if someone does survive the shipwreck. That's how he gets bodies. So you can have a couple of skeletons on patrol, walking around the area. That way, again, that's good storytelling to let them know, hey, there's a guy who's controlling skeletons around here, or maybe they might even think it's more than one person. Just something to really amplify the whole experience of this of the theme of what's going on. That there's a lot of undead activity and someone's behind it. I didn't get too specific into things on purpose because I do want you to make this your own, put your own twist on it, throw in some, gelatinous cubes or something that the big bad evil guy has put under their employ, just to clean up the bones and make them nice and polished. So he's got some finely crafted skeletons. Maybe the big bad evil guy is a little bit meticulous. Um, there are so many different kinds of players out there. There are a lot who really want a good story and they want to take it seriously and role play an actual dungeon adventure. There's a lot of players out there that want to have a laugh. So making the skeletons, extremely pretty and nice and gleaming and very fresh looking might be a little weird quirk that you could give to the big bad evil guy, that he wants pristine skeletons instead of fleshy ones. Um, but yeah, there's my Halloween themed encounter slash dungeon, however you want to build it. It makes for a very fun one shot, because who doesn't like hordes of undead, and it kind of throws in a story around it that the players feel like they can feel good about killing him, because maybe of course I did this in mine. When they finally did kill the big bad evil guy, all the ghosts manifested at the exact location together and bowed, and then were sent to cross over to the other side, just like a nod to, hey, you did a good job, thanks. Maybe even one of those ghosts points to a specific corner of the room where he hid some sort of valuable treasure that you can give to somebody, for those who don't want the moral victory and want an actual, well, where's my magic item? Come on. Um, so it's a really cool theme to throw at people. Um, Let me know what you think. If you use it, please comment how it went. I'd love to hear anything you had to say about it if you use it and if you put it your own spin on it. Um, like I said, I'll put a link to some sample monsters that I think you should use or that I used that kind of fit this and where to find them. This has been Forever DM, and I hope your homebrew campaigns and one-shots are just as fun as I had with mine, because it was a really a big blast to play. So have fun and keep gaming.